Today we're going to talk about the top 5 mistakes that I made as a first-year, first-grade teacher. Yes, I'm not proud of these mistakes, but I'm also going to tell you what I did to fix these problems and to hopefully help me in the future. My first biggest mistake that I really noticed because it stood out to me with how it made me feel was that I did not schedule long enough blocks of time for parent-teacher conferences. The thing is that it could have been the perfect time. It all depends on what kind of parent you get and what they decide to talk about that day. Unfortunately, I had a really deep, heartfelt conversation with a parent, and it went into another parent's time block, and I got a really hurtful message from that parent. It all ended up working out in the end, and we have remedied our relationship and all of that, but it made me realize that in the future, I really need to make sure that even if there's extra downtime for me, that's time for me to work on something, plan on something, and at least the parents get their full amount of time and it starts on time. Another tip for that I was already following is to make sure that you have a timer going on the board. We use these Promethean boards, and while I had a timer going for each parent, I noticed that even if it went off, some parents didn't really react to it. Some parents did and wrapped up what they were doing, so you kind of never know what's going to happen. And I will say it's kind of a tricky thing because we're not getting paid for parent-teacher conferences, right? But it is a really important time for you to connect with parents because that's like your one time that you might meet with a certain parent and you might not hear from them the whole rest of the school year. But at least it can help you make an informed future decision when it comes to the child's learning. All right, number 2, and this is specifically for first grade. I don't know as much about like middle school and high school, but for me, I personally did not put in enough brain breaks. First graders really need a lot of movement, and incorporating movement even while they're learning is really great. You can have them do jumping jacks while they're counting to 20. Even just as simple as them showing a number with their fingers and practicing the times on the clock with their body is a really great way to get them engaged and learning and moving. But I also think brain breaks are really important because we spend so much time focusing on learning material that sometimes we need to take a step away, especially in math, and do something fun. And the easiest way that you can do that is GoNoodle. If you don't want to use GoNoodle, they put those on YouTube, or you can just Google brain breaks on YouTube. And there are so many great ones. My students personally loved the Sonic the Hedgehog ones, Minecraft ones, Pokemon ones, you name it. If I find that they are really wound up, it depends. Sometimes I'll go with one that's a more energetic brain break, and sometimes we'll do like a rainbow breathing one or a melting breathing one, and they really enjoy the breathing ones too. They think it's funny at first, but I find that it really kind of calms down the classroom tone when they are done with it. And if you're out of creative ideas, just pick a popsicle stick, pick a student, and that student will lead them through some stretches or exercises, and it's really, really fun. This kind of leads me into my next tip and mistake that I made, which is allowing students more teaching opportunities. First graders love to pretend to be the teacher, and I realized that when I started seeing them play teacher during recess. I actually would have these sight word cards, and they would have some of their fellow students sit in front of them, and the one person would be the teacher. They'd raise their hand, read what was on the sight word card, and they would tell them if they were correct or not. And it was actually really, really fun to see that, and you can incorporate that into a variety of your lessons, or if the children are just not understanding the concept that you're teaching, see if you can have someone else explain it to the class. Towards the end of the school year, I incorporated a lot more of that, but I wish I had done that from the beginning of the school year because, again, students love to teach each other, and it's really, really fun. It also allows you to kind of relax for a little bit and to see maybe a different perspective on how they learn. The fourth mistake that is really important for me to take ownership of and learn from that is being afraid to ask parents for help. I teach at a Title I school, and for me, I find that it's really hard to ask parents for help because I feel like they might be already struggling. I don't know their situation or circumstance, and it's really scary for me to ask them for help. That's something that I want to not be afraid of in the future, whether a parent wants to come in and help plan a party or they want to give classroom supplies or literally anything. I think that I should have asked for more help in a lot of situations. For example, when we got to like a field trip day, I had one parent that came to help out, and I think I wasn't clear enough in asking for help, and I think a lot of other parents would have wanted to. Or I went and I planned this kind of elaborate glow party for my students for hitting their reading stamina goal, and I know parents would have loved to help me set it up, and I took it all on myself, and it was just a lot for me. I have chronic illness, so I don't have a lot of energy as it is, and I really could have used the help in that moment, and I didn't ask for it. So in the future, I'm going to think about ways to have my wording towards parents and how they might be able to help me in the classroom. And that's something we can also discuss during parent-teacher conferences in the fall. I'm going to get into the last mistake, but stay tuned for 2 bonus mistakes that I'll mention after the last one. All right, so number 5 is that I had too many reward systems going. And I think I just got really excited with all these different reward systems that exist out there. You know, you have Class Dojo, you might have a treasure box in your room, you might do things like hole punch cards and a sticker chart. There are so many different reward systems that we can do. And I just had too many going at a time, and it was just really hard to keep up with. I also did desk pets, and I get so many questions about that. If you want an in-depth video about how to do desk pets in your classroom, I feel like I have a really good strategy for it, and I can link all the materials and stuff that you can get for a really good price for doing desk pets in your classroom. So if you want to know more about that, leave your suggestion in the comments below, and I'll make a video if there's enough people that want to see that. But yeah, I even felt like students were confused at certain times of like what reward system was going on, what was happening, and I take full ownership of that, and I know that in the future I am going to make sure that I don't have too many reward systems going. I'll pick one, maybe change it up every quarter or just halfway through the year. I haven't really decided how I'm going to do that, but I definitely like the hole punch cards, and then they get to pick a prize. I just had like too much going on. And even keeping it as simple as like if they fill the hole punch card, they can pick a prize from the prize basket. Or I did these like coupons where they can have specialty seating, have a teacher time, not wear shoes in the classroom, whatever it might be. And I had them bounce between that and another reward, and it was just like too many rewards for them to pick from. So I'll think about it and how I'm going to do it in the fall, because I'm going from 1st grade to 3rd grade at the moment. All right, here are your 2 bonus mistakes that I made that I would like to throw into this video. This mistake is another one that I ended up changing by the end of the school year, but I was not making enough copies ahead of time. And the reason why this was an issue was because our copy machines were like always broken and not working, and it was really, really frustrating. So now I make copies at least a week or a week and a half in advance to when I know I'm going to use them. And the last one, not having early finishers or engaging educational early finishers. At first I kind of did a lot of like coloring sheets, so if they finished, they could either read a book or do a coloring sheet, and a lot of them picked the coloring sheet. But eventually I was like, wait, let me do an early finisher worksheet. And I went on Teachers Pay Teachers and I looked up early finisher worksheets, and they have really fun like mazes and coloring ones, but they're more educational, and I think that's really, really great to always have on hand. So I had like a little basket that had ones separated by colored paper clips, and I would make enough copies for one for every student in the class. And I would even find ones like multiplication, and they don't even learn multiplication in 1st grade, but I had some of those more advanced students, and I find that it really helped with behaviors in the classroom, because when students get bored, sometimes they can act out. So basically what I would do is I would have all of those early finishers. They could go work on some of the more challenging ones. They liked to show it off to me, and it kept them from getting bored and acting out with some of their behavior. If you'd like to see a part 2 in this series, I definitely have more mistakes that I made that I would be willing to share with you all. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Remember to subscribe for more A+ advice, and I'll see you in the next video.